Picture in your mind 3 billion hungry people that need food. Now imagine enormous plantations of crops that have enough food to feed all of them. But instead of going to those people, it is being shipped to meat manufacturers to fatten up their animals for slaughter. A large majority of that food will be used to keep those animals alive, while a very small portion of the calories given to the animals will be given back to us as meat. My topic today is over why we should be buying and eating less meat to make meat more of a sometimes food. I'm credible to talk about this topic because of my interest and research into meat production and food as a resource. First, I will discuss the problem of food resource scarcity. Second, the causes of this problem. And finally, my proposed solution to said problem, along with how you can help. Now remember back to my initial scenario as we delve into the problems facing our world due to the meat industry. My first main point will be over the problems brought about by the production of meat. According to an article written by Cassidy E.S. West, Gerber J.S., and Foley J.A. in the year 2013 within the Environmental Research Letters, within the Earth as a whole, humans grow enough calories to feed far more people than are actually being fed, with only 60% of the total possible nourished population actually getting food. And in the US, this ratio is even worse, as only 34% of the total possible population being nourished actually getting food. Poor J and Nemekek T discuss some problems with the way we get our food in the 2018 edition of the Science Journal. According to the authors, quote, "With current diets and production practices, feeding 7.6 billion people is degrading terrestrial and aquatic ecosystems, depleting water resources, and driving climate change," end quote. At the rate we are using the planet's resources, we won't have enough food to go around as the population continues to expand. Now that we have gone over these problems, I will try to explain the roots behind them. To start off my second point, the causes of the problems, an article written by Chapon A., Ashel G., Noor E., and Milo R. in 2016 within the Environmental Research Letters discusses the large amount of food and resources going in to feed livestock, whilst only getting a small return in investment from the animals as meat. As far as straight calories go, dairy repays us 17% of the total calories given to the cows. Poultry gives us 13%, pork 9%, and beef a staggering 3% of the total calories given to the cow is returned back to us as meat. This means that 97% of the calories that we feed to cows is lost due to the fact of them being alive. Going back to the article I used earlier, written by Poor J and Nemekek T, they state that 36% of all calories produced by humans ends up as animal feed, with an average of 12% of those calories ending up as meat on the shelf. A cause of the large resource consumption due to meat production is the amount of water needed to produce that meat. McConan M.M. and Hokestra A.Y. wrote an article in 2010 within The Value of Water that discussed the water footprint of multiple food sources. Sugar crops use approximately 200 cubic meters per metric ton of product produced. Vegetables use approximately 300, nuts 9,000, and beef 15,400 cubic meters per metric ton of product. That's a lot of water. They go on to say, quote, "The general conclusion is that from a freshwater resource perspective, it is more efficient to obtain calories, protein, and fat through crop products rather than animal products," end quote. Now that we've gone over several causes of those problems, let's look at some possible solutions. My final point is over the resolutions to the problems I've laid out in my previous main points. Again, going back to the article written by Cassidy E.S., West P.C., Gerber J.S., and Foley J.A., they write that if all crops used for animal feed were used to make food for people, available calories would increase by 70%, effectively allowing the world to feed 3.5 billion more people, and maybe even more. This, however, is a hard goal to accomplish given how good meat tastes. Humanity won't be so eager to outright give up meat altogether, and thus we will have to make this a gradual process, starting with your decision to have a meat-free day once a week or even once a month. Another solution to the problem of high resource consumption from animals is talked about in an article written by Muat M.J., Prince R., and Rosh M.M. in 2019 within Economic Geography. They discuss the possibility of seeing lab-grown meat in grocery stores in the near future. This means that scientists have figured out ways of growing actual meat without hurting any animals or needing to give resources to animals. This creates a much smaller resource drain and will allow us to feed a lot more people without having to give up meat altogether. Although the solution is still a few years out, most likely. In closing, I've gone over why we should be eating less meat, as resources and the feed going into the animals could be used to feed billions of people. I went through 3 main points today. 1, the hunger problems and resource loss happening across the globe. 2nd, the causes of these problems. And 3rd, and finally, the possible solutions of those problems. If you're curious about my topic today, I will put the link of a very informative and awesome video that inspired me to do this speech in the description below. Also, if you want to help, small changes to your diet will affect more than you would think. Whether it's going full-on vegetarian, or just having a meat-free day every once in a while, or even switching from beef to chicken, which creates meat a lot more efficiently. This will all help tremendously in the fight against world hunger. While these problems can't and won't end overnight, making small changes in what you eat will affect the globe. Thank you.